Hey there, it's Jen. I have a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and today I am going to be using this photo of my daughter giving me the, "Oh, Mom, what do you want now?" look. And today our challenge is to use the main kit only or the PL kit only. So I've chosen the main kit, and I am we're supposed to do a layout about Mom's or Mother's Day, and so I'm going to talk about one of the classic parts of being this one's mom, which is that kind of eye roll, "Mom, what do you want?" kind of deal. So I'm starting with that, and I will talk you through everything that I'm doing.
Okay, so we're going to go on a little bit of a journey here. I start this layout in a different way than I finish it. But first I'm just going to map my photo on some white cardstock. I didn't print it with a white border, but I wanted one, so I decided to just map my photo. And it's slightly smaller than 3x4. It is 4 inches tall, but it's the teensiest bit smaller than 3. And I wanted a smaller photo because I wanted a lot of this rainbow background to show. That was my plan. And I kind of knew I wanted to embellish tone on tone. So I thought that this would be perfect because I could do my title using the thickers from the main kit, which is, I'm only using the main kit, and they would match perfectly with that pink. And so my title's going to be "Seriously, Mom?" And I was glad that there were question marks on that alphabet. So I just have it on some wax paper so I can kind of move it around and play with it while I decide. And I'm glad I did this because I will switch things up a little bit. But I am now going through the embellishments and trying to decide how I can embellish this tone on tone. So I'm just pulling out a bunch of random stuff and putting it where it kind of is matchy. The "Life is Better with You" next to me, it does have that peach too, but it has the green letters, so I thought it would work there. And the "Hey Sugar" at the top. I kind of feel like when you do tone on tone stuff, you can use things that don't necessarily have anything to do with your theme. And so the "Hey Sugar" was fine, and the strawberry was fine as well for me. And I will fussy cut those hot air balloons a little bit better, but I for now have those two just kind of there. Now I'm going to fussy cut them completely, and I want most of that blue off because I want it to look like it's really tone on tone there. So at this point I'm still moving forward with this. It is feeling very disconnected to me. Everything, I feel like it's like a sticker sneeze, like that thing that we used to say in the past when there was just a bunch of stickers everywhere. And I like a bunch of stickers everywhere, but they do need to have some sort of connection, some sort of something to tie them in, make them feel like they belong to the layout. And at this very moment, everything was feeling very disconnected, and I didn't love that. So here I am like, maybe I need to rethink my entire process. So I'm going to play around with some different ideas. I thought about using some more bright pattern papers. And then I remembered that I had a scrap of that rainbow paper that I used part of the back of it on a different layout. And so I thought maybe I just need less of that bright rainbow. And I am at this point kind of moving forward with it on this kind of diamond patterned pink paper. And I think that's really cute, but I'm going to change my mind again. So I also thought maybe I can put a bunch of tags going across, and then I thought, well, if I do this, do I need to move my title so that it's on the bottom? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm having a little bit of a struggle making up my mind. So I decide to go to my old standby, which is white cardstock, and I'm going to put the rainbow pattern on the white cardstock. And I feel like it just is more of what I want. And because I'm using the white cardstock, I kind of feel like I can add a bunch of layers behind my photo. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just using some scraps, and I am layering up all of those patterns behind my photo. I'm sorry I'm a little bit cut off on the bottom, but you're not missing anything. And I do move it up in a minute, I think. But yeah, it's just the it's just the very bottom edge of the paper. So now I've got my layers pretty much figured out, and I decide that I want to just staple them into place so that I can still tuck things in, but so that they don't move everywhere. So I decide to add in that piece of that tag, and I'm actually going to use 3 pieces of that tag. I'm going to turn it into 3 different embellishments for this layout. So one is the top of the tag that's poking out of my layers, and then one is going to be this circle that I cut. And I'm trying to, I have this little circle cutter from Fiskars that you just you can set the size and then cut it out. I didn't get the quote directly in the center, but it doesn't matter. I think it still looks good, and I'm going to go with it. And then I'll use the leftover bit as well, so you'll see that a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and glue my photo down and this background, and I'm lining it up with equal amount of white cardstock on the top and bottom and the left hand side there, and then a lot more space on the right hand side. And I'm putting my photo to the right hand side with all of the little bits and pieces poking out of that side, because it feels like there's a room for a color explosion off of this side, but if I were to put it on the rainbow, it would feel very busy. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put my hot air balloons down, and I am still kind of doing it tone on tone, so I'm putting the yellow kind of down by the yellow section and that darker peach up in that section, and then the lighter one below, and it ends up working out really well, but it's not exactly tone on tone, and everything is connected on the layout. It's because I clustered it more close together. So I'm really a lot happier with the way that this is looking than I was with it before. I decided to go ahead and use this Can't Help But Smile little die cut. There it says I can't help but smile, but it worked to tuck it in this way so you can't see the eye and you can still understand what it says, so perfectly fine with me. I'm going to use 3 butterflies. That blue one is giving me an awkward space, and so I'm going to move it here in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and put this yellow flower down here at the bottom, and I'm going to use the clear acetate pink flower up at the top, and because I'm putting it on the white, you don't lose any of that color. Here I move that butterfly down just so there's not that weird space there, and I'm going to distress pretty heavily the edges of this rainbow pattern, and I want to fold over some of the pieces. There's a yellow star pattern on the back, and I'm okay with that showing, and so I fold some pieces up, and then I'm going to put this little part that I cut off the tag, and I'm going to pop it up with some thin foam adhesive and rough up the edges with my scissors and just kind of tuck it in there, and it's still on that pink section, so it is still kind of a tone on tone layout, but there's a little bit more color over on that white side. So I was really happy with how it was coming together at this point. So I'm pretty much done. I know that I want to add some twine to my tag, but I got distracted by this leftover piece of that tag that I cut the circle out of, and I like little random pieces that have things cut out of them. I don't know what it is, but I always like using them. It's just like an interesting look. And so I thought maybe I'd put this at the top as kind of like a little tab, and then I thought maybe I would tuck it next to the hot air balloon. And then I put it over here next to that kind of big rip, and I made the rip even larger, and so there's that little half circle showing, and I'm going to stamp my date in there. And I like the way that looks. It just gives another little pop of that pattern, and it's an interesting shape, and it's just a fun way to use those random bits. So here I'm wanting to write my journaling, and I'm just going to write it very small in a single line across the bottom of that orangey peachy rainbow piece. What is that? What is that? Is it a stripe? Anyway, and then I take my pen and I'm just doing some like doodly squiggly lines, some of them to look like stitching, some of them just little scribbles. I'm doing them all over the place, and then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and put the bow in my tag there and tie that. Oh, I forgot. I also add some enamel dots, and I do them very tone on tone. So I do the yellow and the pink like I do them all color on color, and some of them blend in quite a lot. I also add just a couple of those aqua colored ones at the bottom. So here I am just going to tie a bow for the tag with some kind of neutral colored twine from my stash, and then I will add some gold staples to a few places, and that is going to finish this. So I hope that you enjoyed this process. I hope that you'll try documenting one of those kind of classic mom moments, whether it's something like this look that I get all the time, or if it's something that's your favorite thing about being a mom. I hope that you'll try doing something like that for yourself, for your albums. And thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in the hip kits, I will have a link in the video description. Be sure to check them out and head over to the Hip Kit Club blog to see more information about this layout. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here again very soon.